we have, it looks like we've got Mason, he, him in Florida wants to give us some evidence for God. So great, Mason. That is what we are here for. You're chatting up with Secular Rarity and Dave Warnock. What you got?
Hey guys, how are we doing?
Good. How are you?
I got into a argument with, well, it wasn't an argument. It was a friendly conversation with a atheist, and me being a theist. We basically got to a point of a checkmate because in a conversation, we heard Matt Dillahunty talk about love and on one of his episodes there. But I want to ask you, before I start this, do you guys have like maybe a dog, let's say, a pet dog?
I don't have any pets.
Yep.
No pets. Okay. How about kids?
I got a pet. I got kids.
Dave does, but I also kind of feel like you're gonna ask about like love and stuff, and like I have that. I have friends and family, so it probably counts. But yeah, go ahead.
I didn't. No, I start off with pets because I don't want to assume that you got.
Do you love anything secular? Is there anyone or anything you love?
I am completely devoid of both love and friendship. But no. Go ahead. What you got for us, Mason?
Well, I would say that's a bad thing about being an atheist. No, if you're admitting that you love your dog, let's say, there's a belief there that Matt Dillahunty bases it on chemicals in your brain. Like he just boils it all down to that, which I've heard him say in one of the episodes. And the problem with that is you say you love your dog or you say you love something, but you can't demonstrate it. Okay. The only thing you can say are the chemicals in your brain.
Okay.
But we don't know how those chemicals really work.
Do you think that me, let's just say, because again, I don't have a dog, so I have no consequences. I have no dog in this fight. I should have gone with that one first. Doesn't matter.
You missed it.
I know. I'll be anyway. But Mason, do you think like me going out of my way on a regular basis, spending, let's say, like, I don't know, a fourth of my income to take care of this animal and give it the best life for, I don't know, decades? Do you think that's probably a decent demonstration of love?
Okay, so much like somebody that goes out of their way and reads the Bible and goes to church every Sunday. And
absolutely not analogous at all. Because the dog is something that absolutely everybody else can verify in a myriad of ways. Whereas the only thing that we can verify about the person going to the church or reading the Bible is that the book and the building are real. The thing that they're actually talking about and supposedly having love for and with, there is no demonstration.
If you wanted to say that you gave your money, Mason, if you wanted to say that you gave your money because you believe in the church and you love the church, you love the pastor and you want to provide him a salary or be a part of providing him a salary, you love the church building and you want to have a place to go to, so you chip your money into the pot to make that possible, then you have an analogy to the dog that you're buying food for and taking to the vet. But to say that you're going to church and reading your Bible and praying because you love God that you can't see and you can't demonstrate is actually there is not an avid comparison at all to secular's point.
Well, I
totally agree.
But we're talking about context here. I mean, it could be any God, dogs. What I'm talking about is love. Actually, show me how love is real. Like demonstrably.
Why does that matter? Let's say that Dave, hang on a second, Mason, just give me a second. I'm going to lay it all out for you. We can walk through this together. Not trying to be antagonistic, I swear. But let's take the two options here. One option is that Dave and I can provide absolutely solid, super duper robust demonstration of the existence of love. And let's say on the other side, Dave and I just throw up our hands and go, yep, can't do it. What is the consequences of either of those? Because in neither case, no matter which route we go down, this being an argument for the existence of a deity or the supernatural seems to absolutely not follow to me. So help me with that. Give me what those connecting threads are supposed to be here, I guess.
Okay. Well, it's very important, because what you're doing is you're subscribing to an invisible feeling, basically. I'm asking you to show me how love is real. You're telling me,
Disagree.
well, I can care for the dog, or I can lust for the girl, or you can do whatever you want, but you're not showing me love. And this is the important thing, is that God is not it can't be demonstrated, much like love.
There you go. I think that's great. I'm glad you finally admitted that. I'm excited to welcome you into the depths of hell with the rest of us non-believers. If you're just saying your God is equivalent to a concept, then congratulations, you're in good company of people like Andrew Tate, for instance.
Aren't you doing the same thing?
But not in the slightest, because what the difference is, once again, is you are claiming that there is nothing to point to when it comes to love, but that's just flat out not true. What we don't have is a demonstration of love in the same way that we have a demonstration of the existence of tables or chairs or my freaking hair. Like, yeah, I can't hold love in front of me in a cup, but nobody has ever made that claim, right? Nobody has ever once even come close to saying that that's what love is. We know that love is. I don't give a crap. Look, hang on. I'm going to mute you for just a second here, Mason. And the reason why I'm going to mute you is I don't give a crap what even Dave Warnock says about love. You know why? Because I'm not Dave. Dave is here and he can speak for himself, and I can speak for myself. And if you want to talk to Matt, go talk to Matt. Like, he does this all the time. I'm sure you can find a way to reach out to him. But what I'm saying is, love absolutely is a different thing than like water or ice cubes. Yeah, I totally understand that. It's a concept, right? But it's a concept that is inherently tied to a lot of physical things that we can manipulate, that we can go, hey, I got a thought in my squishy noggin here, and if I do this thing, this person will express they feel this way. When we do that a shit ton of times over and over and over again, that's a pretty good demonstration. The problem with the analogy that you're making and the connection that you're making is that you keep claiming that the chemicals, I mean, you haven't exactly said this, but hang on, I'll finish the analogy. You keep claiming that the chemicals in the head are the demonstration of the physical love that I put in a cup, but it's not. We agree with you on that, and you agree with us on that. And so when you go back to, well, these people spend all their time at the church and they read the scripture over and over and they get the feeling inside of them, the only thing that is demonstrating is the existence of those same chemicals, the existence of that book, and the existence of that church and community. You're not showing the thing that is actually what you're trying to say is real. And again, if really at the end of the day, what you're saying is, well, God's just a concept. Cool, man. But then recognize that what that means is that you are not falling into the boat as the vast majority of other believers out there for a very long time, because those people would hardcore disagree with you and say God is not just a concept. So I got you unmuted again, Mason. I know I spouted a lot at you, but please go ahead, shout back to us.
I was laughing because you actually stumped me. That was an excellent answer, actually.
Well, thanks. I'll take that.
You just checkmated me because now I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and try to understand.
Yeah.
Because you're right. It can be shown. First of all, I didn't say it was chemicals, though. I denounced that idea.
Sure.
Fine. Just for the record, I didn't think that was. But
that's fine. But
your answer was right on the money, though.
I want to say, because I want to take the opportunity to just say how important I think that is, Mason, because in these discussions, unfortunately, and I've seen it on many different sides, in these discussions, there are times when a really good point is presented, right? Like, I know it may hurt some of our viewers for me to say this, folks, but look, there are rational theists out there, guys. There are people who believe, who have robust understandings of that belief, right? And they do have justification. I think there's still a problem with their arguments, sure, but that doesn't mean that they're just idiots that are just crapping out their mouths all the time. Of course not. And it's valuable in these discussions that everybody on whatever freaking side we're on, take a moment when there really is something that shakes our belief, that shakes our understanding, for us to just put up our hands and go, you know what? Hang on a second. That's actually kind of good, man. Let me think about that. And
that's good.
And that's what I'm gonna encourage, Mason, is like, I know myself, Dave, we will be back on this show. There are other phenomenal hosts that are coming up next week and the weeks after. They can't all be as good as me and Dave, but you know, whatever. But no, I'm teasing. But seriously,
Mason, let me add to what Secular said.
One more point though in there.
Just a second. Let Dave chat, and then we'll kick it right back to you. Okay.
What I wanted to say, Mason, is I really appreciated you acknowledging that Secular made a point that made sense to you. And so what I would really encourage you to do, rather than when you said, I got to go back to the drawing board, that's really good. What I would encourage is, don't go back to the drawing board with the assumption that what you think about God is already true. Don't just go back and say, well, I know God's true, so let me find another way to demonstrate that. Let me find another way to prove what I already know to be true. Go back with the open-mindedness to perhaps consider that maybe he's not there. Maybe what you've always thought about him was incorrect, because I did that. Once I did that, I realized I didn't have good evidence for God. Once I quit trying to prove my point and rather went with an open mind to investigate the claims of this God, the claims of the Bible, the claims of the church, then I was able to more clearly look at what was there and what was not there. I'm not trying to get you to say there's no God. I'm trying to get you to open your mind to the possibility that what you've always thought may be wrong. I know that can be scary. It was for me, and it is for anybody I've ever known who's deconstructed their faith. It's a very scary place to be because you've got a lot riding on it. Most people do. But it's a more honest place to be. So when you go back to the drawing board, consider that maybe just wipe the slate clean and start from zero and then see where that takes you. Just a thought.
Totally.
That's interesting because it is a scary place, because if I get very objective with it, as objective as I can, I realize truly this might just be almost like a dream. Like there's no beginning, there's no end. We're here, we blip in and out. And the idea that there's no God or anything like that, it just scares the crap out of me. And I think a lot of people actually, go into God because of that fear subconsciously. They don't. It's just, you want that to be above you. You don't.
Sure.
It's too scary without it, but
it's comforting. I mean, yeah, for sure. And I get why walking away from, that comfortableness is problematic, for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
The issue for me at the end of the day, right? If we really want to tally up all the marks on all the sides, where I find it shakes out time and time again is taking a little bit more of that uncomfortableness right up front and just biting the freaking bullet and saying, you know what? Maybe all this magic and stuff isn't out there to help me. Maybe there isn't anybody that is, watching me and guiding me to make sure that I don't slip and fall and hurt myself, sure. It sucks, man. It sucks, especially right up front, because that's like point number one. Point number one, you step out into this game of life and you're like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Wouldn't it be awesome if there was like a safety net to make sure that I never got screwed over so bad? And so, yeah, it's like, you got to step out onto the field knowing full and well that, that's not really the case. But here's where I think the beauty of that is. Here's where I really, really find the most gorgeous thing about life is that we get to do that, Mason. We get to be that safety net for other people. We get to provide that comfortable space and the only freaking moment we are for sure that we have. We could all just be in a turtle's dream in outer space. We sure could be, man. We could just be a bunch of brains in a bunch of different vats totally freaking possible. But it seems like at the absolute most basic, it seems like this time we're here.
Mm-hmm.
And because we have that for sure, let's do our best to actually understand the world around us, even if it makes us a little bit uncomfortable, because that's the only way we start making others more comfortable. That's the only freaking way, man.
It's scary. It's scary. Life is scary. Life is scary. Go ahead, Mason.
Well, I've been following this show for a long time, and you guys are really, really trying, and I applaud it, because a lot of people might be going over to atheist. But the thing is, when you say what's demonstrable and give me the evidence, I was just pointing out to, hey, look, love is not really demonstrable, much like God. What if it can't be? I mean, if you can demonstrate God, you wouldn't need God. You can create God. If you can demonstrate, you wouldn't even need it. So
I disagree. If you could demonstrate God, that would give you more reason to need it, because if the God of classical theism is real, the attributes that this God has is one that you absolutely want on your side. Like, this God can literally move mountains. I mean, pick the mountain up and cast it into the sea. Like, well, I'm not praying for a soccer team to win anymore. I'm praying for millions of dollars and for all the children at St. Jude's to be healed. You know what I'm saying? But we don't have that demonstration. We don't.
What you're saying, I think, Mason, is if God can be demonstrated, you don't really need faith. And that's a problem. You're right, but it's also the problem with this whole thing is that everything hinges on faith in an undemonstrable and an undemonstratable God. And he's just a concept. That's why you have so many different kinds of gods and so many different kinds of religions, because everyone has kind of created their own. And many of them argue with each other about which one is the most correct, when my argument is we need none of them. And, I think to the previous point, it's scary to consider facing life without a God as a safety net. But don't you want to face life in the most accurate way rather than the one that's the most comfortable? And I think once I got on the other side of faith and realized that the God I'd believed in was not true, and I'm here on my own. Yeah, it's scary, but it's also powerful, because it puts the power in our hands. Not that we're wanting power, but what we do with our life is our own to do. We're writing our own story. No one else is writing it for us. And we get to be there for other people. I like what Sarah Bareilles says in her song Orpheus: when the bottom drops out, perhaps my love will be someone else's solid ground. That's what I live for. That's the thing that makes life beautiful, is that we can be each other's solid ground when the bottom drops out. Yeah. No gods needed.
Wow. Yeah, that's very interesting. You know what? I'm going to walk away from this phone call going, I got it. And then 20 minutes later, I'm going to be stuck back into my thoughts of, but what if how do you guys maintain this kind of thinking, though? Because life is scary, and suppose I get cancer or something, I'm going to be like, the first thing in my own, man, I'm praying to God.
Funny you should mention that. Yeah. Mason, I have ALS. Do you know what that is?
Oh my God, my mom died of that. My mom died at 55 years old of ALS. Yeah, she only lasted 6 months long, which I find to be, I don't know. It was a really rough patch for me to.
I'm sorry to hear that, dude. I know that was tough. How old were you when she passed?
28 years old. I'm 35 now.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry for your loss. I've had ALS for about 5 years. It was
called sporadic ALS. So in sporadic ALS, that's usually the age, because in familial ALS, I would have probably had it. It would have been genetic. So it's sporadic ALS.
The genetic kind's only about 5%. I have the sporadic kind as well. And I have a very, if you notice, I have to lean back because my neck is weak and it's getting weaker. But I'm sorry for your loss, first of all. But to your point about what if you got cancer? Well, I left my faith about a dozen years ago, and then about 5 years ago, I got ALS. I was diagnosed 4.5 years ago. But I've been living with ALS as an atheist. And that diagnosis did nothing to rot me. In other words, I didn't not once consider running back to God and wishing that there were a God to fall back on, because that doesn't comfort me at all. What comforts me is the love and community of the people around me who are here with me in my fight against this disease. And that's, I have a community of friends and family who just support me incredibly. And I don't need a supernatural deity or some belief in something beyond what I can see and feel and know is true. And it doesn't shake me at all to deal with this disease as an atheist. I'm going to die, and my belief is that once I die, that's the end. There's nothing at the end of that. What that does, it causes me to value this life all the more.
Yeah,
absolutely. And my heart goes out to you, and I hope everything goes well with you. And you really much rocked my whole belief system here, because you answered my question ultimately. Is what if you have ALS and you still are maintaining that courage and
my T-shirt? I am dying out loud. That's my thing.
I'm dying out loud. I'm gonna make that a phrase and put it on a shirt.
Yeah, you can go buy one actually.
You can get them on sale.
Yeah, he's got them on sale,
really?
Man. So yeah, you can get a nice Dave Warnock personalized T-shirt for you, buddy. And Mason, we're gonna go ahead and move on. But before we did,
man, thank you so much.
Thank you for your call, Mason.
Brother. But before we let you go, I do just want to let you know, if you're not watching the live stream right now, there is a whole bunch of people sending some love and support to you in the chat. And don't forget, man, we have a bunch of awesome communities that are run by fans, maintained by the fans, and just a bunch of people get together in them when we're not here on Sundays. So go check out the Facebook, go check out the Discord and stuff, and chat with some people, man.
You're a good dude, Mason. Yeah. I'm sorry you had to deal with the loss of your mom to ALS.
Yeah,
really sorry, brother.
Man. Guys, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. And you go have a great rest of your day, and give us a call back, man. Like if you get something else stuck in your head and you're not sure about it, or you feel like you've got, a really solid argument you use, like, shout it out to us. This is genuinely what we are here for. And I think, Dave and I said it both a couple of times on that call and a bunch of times in our lives, as well, is just, we are the only support that we can give ourselves and each other. It's us, it's people. And it is one of the greatest feelings in the world.
Too. It's enough.
It's absolutely enough.
There's no deficiency there.
Exactly.
It's all we need.
Exactly. When someone is there to support you and care about you, or you are there to support and care about others, I don't need a cup of love, because I fucking know it's real in that moment, man.